Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Proverbs 19:1. Quote, "The folly of a man spoils his ways, and he blames God in his heart." Stop. This is the number one reason why we have so many atheists, agnostics, etc. in the world today. What I mean is, the very first statements out of their rebellious mouths go something like, "Why would God allow this horrible event to happen?" Or something like, "Why would a God allow this type of suffering and injustice, yada, yada, yada?" Not understanding. My God is allowing mankind-induced unintended consequences to run their course. Don't blame my God for the reaction to the elitist actions with Hitler. They created him. Don't blame my God for all of the man-made natural disasters either. I said it like that because all you must do is look up in the heavens for one moment of your day. Mankind are the ones spraying false clouds of death in the sky, changing the natural jet stream patterns, terraforming our planet, etc. And remember the scriptures. My God will punish the earth for allowing mankind to do these things to her. Don't blame my God for this economic and social suicide society either. You are beguiled to believe and be deceived by their conditioning, witchcraft, and sorceries, putting your soul's fingerprint on all-out wickedness. Black people, don't you see the white man is running the same trick on the Muslims in this country now? They admit they are discriminating against them for the sole purpose to get them to amalgamate into the American culture. I've seen a white man say he's not going to stop hating them until he sees one of them eating a pork chop sandwich. Now that's wickedness. So don't you dare blame my God for your current conditions in America. No, this is all you're doing. Why do I say this, you wonder? Well, what did you perceive when my God told you that no one was going to help us here? No, not one. Did you think that he forgot about MLK and the Civil Rights Movement? Did you think he forgot about that long-legged Mac Daddy Barack Obama? I like it when that man said that. Did you think he forgot about education being the key? Better question. Did you think he forgot about sending colorless Jesus, spreading all of that white love and white joy to all the nations of the earth? Of course not. Yet, you blame him for your stupidity of trusting the very people that hung you upon trees. And somehow, in some way, you expect anything other than complete fuckery from them. What? Black people are protected by American laws now. Oh, really? You said that as though one amendment, just one amendment, was going to undo this. According to the Los Angeles Times, February 22nd, 2017, under "When the Nazis wrote the Nuremberg laws, they looked to racist American statutes." Before we start, perceptual context. I know there are at least 6 people out there who like to view my channel, but think I need Jesus and think I have the white man all wrong. Well, take a look at this. Quote, "The European far right sees much to admire in the United States, with political leaders such as Marine Le Pen of France and Geert Wilders of the Netherlands celebrating events such as the recent presidential election that seem to bode well for their brand of ethno-nationalism. Is this cross-Atlantic bond unprecedented? A sharp break from the past? If it seems so, that's only because we rarely acknowledge America's place in the extremist vanguard, its history as a model, even for the very worst European excesses. In the late 1920s, Adolf Hitler declared in Mein Kampf that America was the one state making progress toward the creation of a healthy, race-based order. He had in mind U.S. immigration laws, which featured a quota system designed, as Nazi lawyers observed, to preserve the dominance of Nordic blood in the United States. Hold on a second. The American commitment to putting race at the center of immigration policies reached back to the Naturalization Act of 1790, which opened citizenship to any alien, being a free white person. But immigration was only part of what made the U.S. a world leader in racist law in the age of Hitler. Then as now, the U.S. was the home of a uniquely bold and creative legal culture, and it was harnessed in the service of white supremacy. Legislators crafted anti-miscongeniation statutes in 30 states, some of which threatened severe criminal punishment for interracial marriage. Stop. Now, I'm not down for the interracial marriage, but America still has a uniquely bold and creative legal culture. Why else do you think the southern states spent so much time and effort to do away with the federal oversight in their elections through the Voting Rights Act? If they were not up to all-out fuckery, why would it matter if the feds watched what the states were doing? We have already gone over state courts that have contracts with the local and county jails, modern-day slavery, certain laws tweaked to garner harsher punishments, etc., going on in the southern state justice systems towards blacks today. Think about it. There are more lawyers in America than the rest of the world combined, all of them needing new unscrupulous laws and statutes put on the books yearly. Why? So that you may need their unscrupulous representation. This is why the legal system vocabulary is totally different than what the public speaks. Do yourself a favor and Google Black's Law Dictionary and be amazed. They hide their craft through double talk and words you would think are synonymous, so you will not be able to represent yourself and hide their dirty dealings in plain sight. But let's continue, please. Quote, then as now, the U.S. was the home of a uniquely bold and creative legal culture, and it was harnessed in the service of white supremacy. Legislators crafted anti-miscongeniation statutes in 30 states, some of which threatened severe criminal punishment for interracial marriage. And they developed American racial classifications, some of which deemed any person with even one drop of black blood to belong to the disfavored race. Widely denied the right to vote through clever devices like literacy tests. Blacks were de facto second-class citizens. American lawyers also invented new forms of de jure second-class citizenship for Filipinos, Puerto Ricans, and more. Stop. This brings me to another reason why I am so angry. No, not for the obvious, but for the arrogance of the modern white man supremacy bullocks. Let me explain. I watched an interview with a neurologist who specialized in lead poisoning in children, talking about all the black children living in and around Flint, Michigan. Comes to find out, the white man knew lead in our pipes. You know, the pipes he refused to replace in our school systems and neighborhoods until forced by the government. Comes to find out, they knew lead in the drinking water tremendously retards the child's brain in little of no time. The doctor said each child living in Flint will need to have rehabilitation classes to regain basic functions. I said all of that to say, the white man is the harbinger of death and purposely attempted to create a mindless servant. But let's continue. Quote, "This is the background to a disturbing story. The story of the American influence on the Nuremberg laws, the notorious anti-Jewish legislation proclaimed amid the pageantry of the Nazi Party rally at the Nuremberg in September of 1935. Stop. I did a video describing so-called African American slam dunk case of genocide before the World Court. As you can see, Germany got its laws from America. And if Germany was found guilty of genocide for doing the exact same things our American brothers had already implemented, that can only mean America has/is committing genocide upon the so-called African Americans. But wait! This is where we grab the World Court by their white balls. What I mean is, if they had the audacity and unmitigated gall to convict the Germans, surely they had to be on the phone directing the U.S. on how to get out of their sticky wicket as well. Would this be? Could this be one of the real reasons the white man devised and implemented their mass amalgamation plan under the guise of civil rights? You know, to stop the coloreds from taking them to the World Court. Before you answer, please remember this huge fact. The exact same people who just won against the Germans, yep, the Israelis were being discriminated against and had a dog in the civil rights fight against the American South too. History attests, from the vile lips of the American forefathers all the way up to the civil rights movements, the Israelis were hated by the founders of the new American public. Through their own words, they knew if you allowed the Israelis to set their feet on American soil, your children will eventually become their slaves. No crap. Google it. They preferred the Arab Muslims over the Israelis and locked them out of certain guilds, professions, etc. This is the reason why the Israelis marched hand in hand with the coloreds during the civil rights movement. It should be painstakingly clear who came up with the whole amalgamation instead of separation crap now, huh? Now look at how the Israelis have prospered with American freedom. And look at how the coloreds, who only got free range out of the amalgamation deal. Huh, big difference, huh? What? Why did the founders feel this way about the Israelis? Allow me to quote from the great, honorable Southern Confederate gentleman, General Ulysses S. Grant, who wrote a letter to C.P. Wolcott, Assistant Secretary of War, Washington, in December 1862. Quote, "I have long since believed that in spite of all the vigilance that can be infused into post commanders, the special regulations of the Treasury Department have been violated, and that mostly by Jews and other unprincipled traders. The damn carpetbaggers. So well satisfied have I been of this that I instructed the commanding officers at Columbus to refuse all permits to Jews to come to the South." Let me say that again. I instructed the commanding officers at Columbus to refuse all permits to Jews to come to the South. And I have frequently had them expelled from the department. But they come in with their carpet sacks in spite of all that can be done to prevent it. The Jews seem to be a privileged class that can travel anywhere. They will land at any woodyard on the river and make their way through the country. If not permitted to buy cotton themselves, they will act as agents for someone else who will be at the military post with a treasury permit to receive cotton and pay for it in treasury notes, which the Jew will buy up at an agreed rate, paying gold. Example. So as you can see, the tactics of money manipulation, bribery, extortion, lies, and tricks the Israelis use for the right to have their way with you is no secret at all. Plain and simple. The Israelis were unwelcome in the South because they manipulated the system. And true to form, they found the very agent / suckers to manipulate, bribe, and extort to back their civil rights movement to get back into the South again. Now all of America is under their spells of sorceries of economic suffrage. I said bribe because that is exactly what they did. They bribed our parents into backing their cause and being given a reprobate mind. Our parents didn't realize every deal with the devil has a fine print section, meaning our parents got what they wanted, good paying jobs they could stay on for 20 years, raise a family by, take non-bank account crushing family vacations, health insurance, a social security safety net, etc. But the fine print said none of these amenities will be afforded to your children. Yet, they will be required to keep up with the Joneses or they will be considered failures. Take this witchcraft and conditioning example for instance. Coca-Cola just told the world they were going to cut 1,000 jobs to protect their profits. Yet, their entire business is dependent on you buying their worthless products. Yep, they actually tell you they are going to destroy 1,000 people's lives. Not to stay afloat, mind you, but for the sole purpose of protecting their billion-dollar profits. And you assholes are so bewitched through advertisement witchcraft and consumerism sorceries, you still buy their products without blinking an eye. But wait! Guess what they are doing with the profits they are protecting? They are taking that same money and bribing your elected officials to screw you over even the more. Don't you dare blame my God for your subservient addictions. They take your means to gain life essentials overseas, and you still buy their worthless products as though it was made of crack rock. There wouldn't be an airline industry if you didn't allow them to treat you like complete crap, double booking and groping you at will, etc. You the damn dummies. You don't need any of their crap. So don't blame my God for being ensnared by it. Let me get off my soapbox. Let's continue with the article, please. Where were we? Oh yeah. We were reading how we had America and the world court balls in a vice through their own hypocritical words. Quote, at a crucial 1934 planning meeting for the Nuremberg system, the Minister of Justice presented a memorandum on American law. According to a transcript, he led a detailed discussion of miscongeniation statutes from all over the United States. Moreover, it is clear that the most radical Nazis were the most eager advocates of American practices. Roland Friesler, who would become president of the Nazi People's Court, declared that American jurisprudence, personal quote, would suit us perfectly. Stop. Yet, somehow in some way, the World Court didn't connect the dots or suddenly caught a case of willful blindness towards the U.S. Can you say world conspiracy to commit and conceal genocide against the Israelite people? No way am I going to even try and proceed. The world court was oblivious to the systematic oppression of a particular race of people in the United States. But let's continue, please. Quote, and the ugly irony of that, when the Nazis rejected American law, let me say it again. And the ugly irony is that when the Nazis rejected American law, it was often because they found it too harsh. For example, Nazi observers shuddered at the, personal quote, human hardness of the one-drop rule, which classified people, personal quote, of predominantly white appearance as blacks. To them, American racism was sometimes simply too inhumane. Stop. These facts are backed up by the father of modern Christian dominionism at the same time in history, about American law towards the colors. You know, the religion the entire U.S. administration believes in now. He said, quote, the law here is humane and also unsentimental. It recognizes that some people are by nature slaves and will always be so. It both requires that they be dealt with in a godly manner and also that the slave recognizes his position and accepts it with grace. That was R.J. Rushdoony in the Institutes of Biblical Law. I don't know why, but the phrase, raise up a child in the way they should go, and when they get old they will return, keep popping up in my head. Only in reverse. But let's continue, please. Quote, in a sense, this ugly tale about the history of American racism is also about American innovation gone awry. Today, we're leaders in the creation of corporate law. Back then, it was race law. Other countries, such as Australia, put legislative obstacles in the way of mixed marriages. But the U.S. went so far as to threaten long prison terms. Example. So as you can plainly see, first, this is the reason I'm so damn racist. So stop asking me why. As we both know, the picnic hangings, the entire town burning, and colored Jesus church bombings, you know that era, the Jim Crow era, immediately came next. And knowing the future like the scriptures allow us to know, in this case, knowing not one will help us in this land, for you to think that I am stupid enough to think all of a sudden and out of the kindness of their stone black hearts against his own self-interest, political power, his constituents, and heck, against the natural order of things. You think I believe against all odds, with only the looming threat of non-violence withstanding them? The white man decided to do right by the coloreds? Man, bullshit! This is all a scam, black people. This is all a scam. Getting you to willingly do what they used to make you do unwillingly. How? By using the Egyptian affliction Stockholm Syndrome method. Why? To make sure the only thing that moves in the black community is the money. That's why. Second, we had America, still do actually, buy their own genocidal balls. Do you realize how many states, countries, and city governments have been caught gerrymandering? That is, to manipulate the boundaries to an electoral constituency so as to favor one party or class. I bid you to check out the Washington Post article entitled, "This is the best explanation of gerrymandering you will ever see," and that's March 2013. You will quickly see they are playing musical chairs with the colored congressional votes. We have doctors who obviously will go on the record, seeing they appear on YouTube videos, that will attest they were involved in programs, if not designed for black destruction. When their motto played out and they realized the rate of deadly consequences, they put it in operations anyway. Third, hopefully you can see the true who, what, where, how, and nature the civil rights movement was intended. Blackmail to open up the South to the Israeli carpetbaggers again. And because they depend on sucking the color's economic soul dry as well, they promise not to give you the perception or representation to sue the shit out of America like they did the Germans, etc. Thank you for looking at this video. My God's will, I want to show you some of the witchcrafts and sorceries being cast upon you with impunity daily. Look for the next. Trust me, they're different. There's so many. Oh my gosh. Hallelujah.